Okay, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Fast and Tedious, where I talk to HubSpot solutions partners that have tiered and are scaling. Today, we have Andrew Logan. He is CEO and founder of Flow Digital. That people actually like each other over there where they work, which is a fun thing, and not always true. So, Andrew, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us and telling and sharing about your story.
Thank you. No, I'm excited to be on, Matt. Appreciate the invite and looking forward to chatting more about HubSpot and our story.
We've had some conversations. You helped us immensely at Super with product feedback. Help us. They probably don't know how pivotal you are to some of the things people use every day. But one of the I've worked with your product, but I don't know your full story, so I'm really excited about this. So, question, Andrew, how the heck did you become and decide to start a HubSpot solutions partner agency? Because it's a crazy thing to do. It takes all of you to start a business like this. What led you to where you are today?
Absolutely. No, you're right. It does. I started the business back in 2016, so we're 10 years old this year, which is a pretty special milestone. I think looking at stats of businesses across the UK, most of them don't make it past the first sort of 2 or 3 years. So it's definitely a special milestone, and the business has changed a lot over that 10 years. So when I started Flow, first and foremost, we were a marketing agency. We had no affiliation with HubSpot at all. We were an inbound marketing agency. We ran lead generation campaigns for our clients, and we very quickly found that our clients were really struggling to manage the leads that we sent them. Some of them were using post-it notes, some of them were using whiteboards, some of them had CRM systems that were so complex that no one actually used them, and they reverted back to the whiteboards and post-it notes. So as you've seen with Supered and some of the stuff that we've sort of worked together in Supered and the platform, I'm a product guy, I'm a tech geek. I really enjoy getting in and using things, technology, and getting down into the detail and the nitty-gritty of it. So I personally went out and signed up for about 15 different trials of CRM platforms, all the usual suspects: Salesforce, Pipedrive, and Dynamics. And I, like, personally, I'm a product guy. I can build a website, I can build an app, and I found some of them so difficult to use. And I thought that if I can't use it, our clients won't be use it. So there's absolutely no point in us having it. So we after a few months of evaluation, landed on HubSpot is the perfect balance, the sweet spot, where I think it's the best CRM for most businesses and our types of clients for two reasons. Number one, it's powerful enough to run the marketing campaigns, which is what we were really interested in. And then also it's easy enough for people to use, so people will actually use it, which is ultimately what we wanted. I was spending at that time on my own as a kind of solopreneur at that point. I was spending all day Sunday, pulling together reports for a Monday. The clients had sent me all these spreadsheets. You present the information on a Monday, and then the sales team would be saying, no, actually that's changed, that's not right, and that's wrong. And I'd be like, I've wasted a whole day. It's taken me too long to pull this information together. So that's where then we became a HubSpot partner, and kind of grown with HubSpot ever since. Fast forward to today, actually 75% of our revenue comes from HubSpot support and doing marketing with HubSpot and enabling the clients themselves to do it, because that's the way that I see the market going. We can maybe talk about the future of HubSpot and the future of marketing later.
So you 10 years old, congrats. That's a long time to be doing one thing, and it takes a lot of grit and a lot of resilience to do that. So just like, congratulations.
It feels like 20 years, Matt.
You're telling me that you didn't have gray hair when you started?
I had dark hair. I had lovely, long, dark hair when I started, and I've now got kind of patchy white hair. That's another story entirely as well.
Well, so we've been 10 years, and I mean, you just hit a big milestone that I bet you've been thinking about trying to hit for a little bit. So let's go through that. You went from platinum, now you're diamond. Really hard. The jump between platinum and diamond is significant, not just from the points it takes in the HubSpot. It's the operational rigor it takes, and you have to have people. It's very difficult to do that without people. So with that, how large is the team today?
So there's 8 of us at the moment. About half are involved in HubSpot delivery. There's some central services in there as well. And we kind of work in like a pod of 4 typically on an implementation. So there's the team's growing, and probably the type of people, the type of experience that we've attracted as we've got bigger as well has really helped. You know yourself, building Super, that the people that are part of the team is what allows you to grow. And probably that's for a long time I did too much on my own and thought that I could take over the world on my own, which was a big mistake, held us back as a business in growth. And obviously it's another learning experience.
So when you were in Platinum, how long the gap between HubSpot, between moving from Platinum to Diamond? How long? Oh, yeah.
Do you know, probably about the kind of 11, 12 month mark. I would actually, so we went from gold, if you remember that tier. We went from gold to diamond in just under 2 years. So we really took a massive growth spurt in HubSpot, and that's where that 24 months ago, the revenue split was the other way around. 75% was marketing and the kind of balance with HubSpot. So it's been a total shift in our focus over the last 24 months, and that's why we've grown so rapidly with HubSpot.
Wow. So talk to me, just the challenges. What are the 3 biggest challenges you faced as you were going from 24 months? I mean, that's the gold to diamond. That's a grind. Not the word. I don't use the word grind, but that's difficult to do. That is not guaranteed. That is, how did you do it? What are the 3 things as you think back? Man, here are the 3 challenges I had to overcome, or we had to overcome to get to diamond.
So the first one I would say is the process. Systems and processes are probably lumped into the one thing, and that I've sort of changed. I've really simplified the offering as to what we do in terms of how we approach our implementation.
So what it used to be, you said simplify. It was like what changed, and what is it now that made it easier to digest?
So each project was very bespoke, and regardless of the size of it. So we could be working on with a small medium business and building a really tailored onboarding plan, which isn't necessarily what they needed. And it meant that training the team, probably moving on to the next kind of pillar, would be the people. Training the team became more difficult. Certainly the offering was more difficult. Every presentation had to be custom made. Every pitch deck, every proposal, that's all unique. So that takes some time and it slows down what you're doing. So simplifying the offering allowed us to go to market faster and also deliver better, because we've got a fairly simple offering. You've got 3 or 4 options that you can choose per hub. And it covers everything regardless of the size of business. So it's about fitting the right type of business, either because of their size, because of their structure, or because of sometimes their technical ability, and then putting that into a kind of way that we can deliver it. So it's about kind of matching those packages to the right people. And we still do bespoke onboarding, bespoke implementation plans and bespoke projects, but actually having the core of it by saying to the team, like, we need you to do a guided onboarding, or this one's a sales hub full onboarding. The team know the language, and that's really helped us grow as well.
I love that. So I mean, this is a really good insight. I think we sit for a second on this. This is to go and scale fast. It requires a simplification of what you sell, not just because it's easier for people to buy it. It's also specifically with services, so that you can because what you deliver is a person, and you must be able to train the people for the same quality. Simplifying services is the way to also get quality itself. But the hard part is, and you went through this, is to simplify something, you must understand what people actually want, and it's very difficult to do it. So it's kind of like a chicken and the egg. Which one comes first? So it's really good to make it to diamond in some way. There must be a simplification so you can scale people. What's number 2? What's like the next thing? So you're like, hey, it was really difficult to serve all these custom bespoke ports and have quality, and so you solve that through simplifying offering. What's the next challenge?
So the next challenge, you've got your process in place, and then really it's your systems. So you're looking at the systems. How do we deliver, and how do we put that? So once we've right throughout the sales process, then it's moving slickly into the delivery process. How do we do that as an organisation and make it? And again, putting the end user first. That they've invested in HubSpot. It's a new beast to them. They might have never used a CRM before, so they've got this new software. And we tried various guises, as I think we've showed you when we started our journey with Supered, in that we had various client portals, we've had spreadsheets, we've had PowerPoint presentations, we've had documents, and at the end of every onboarding, and we still do this, we sit down and we do a post-mortem and say, look, what could we have done better? What was really good? What was bad? We survey the
Mm.
clients, not only the kind of senior, the project team or the project leads. We survey the end users and say, like, how did you find the onboarding? What could we have done differently in the training? How do you feel the delivery went? Is there any other suggestions that you've got for us? But the actual having to once you've got that process nailed, which took a long time, we need to now think about how do we deliver that using systems. Obviously, HubSpot's key for us in sales and marketing, and actually generating the business for us, or through our kind of campaigns. But also then when we get to that delivery piece, HubSpot's got Service Hub, and they've got the project object. What can be used that's client facing that dovetails nicely with that, and that's why we became a super partner. And that it's a nice, user friendly, clean platform that makes it obvious what the next steps are, and it's really user friendly. And it gives us a central focus that ties back to HubSpot, where we're doing our weekly project calls in HubSpot. We can see at a nice high level where every project's at, whether they're on track, off track. But then if we need to dive into the detail and say, well, actually, this client's got 3 sessions left. What are the 3 sessions that they've got? What's left on the sort of list of FAQs that we've built in Supered as well? So it gives us a way, again, a way to deliver that
Mm.
easily.
Mm. So it's yes, you need a way to solve people, and what you're simplifying your services. But there's a next step of what you're saying is like now we have to pick systems, and it's a big step, and it feels difficult because you have to make a judgment call when you're doing it.
Mm.
Sounds to me like so like when I was doing this 6 years ago. I guess it feels when we were just when I was doing this 6 years ago. I picked ClickUp when I was doing this, and I remember I was like 3 years down. We're like we're going through it. I was like, man, uh, everybody. It allowed us to get from 50, like 10 people to 50 or 60 people, right?
Mm.
And like it became the backbone. Um, and so those decisions you make now like matter a lot.
Mm.
I probably wouldn't make the same decisions I made then. That's why a little bit of why Super exists, but I wouldn't make the same decisions. However, you're so right. And then there's this next insight, but you didn't talk about it, but you kind of like put it in there. This is my insight, so I'll let you chew on it. It is insight number one you gave, which is you must simplify offerings so you can scale and train people. Insight number two is you must pick systems that allow you to deliver fast, deliver a same experience, and using the same systems. Inside of that is, and I want you, how did you solve for adoption? My experience is the only thing that mattered was whether or not my customers use HubSpot at the end.
Mm.
What's been your experience like around this element of, you said adoption is something you prioritize. What does that mean to you? Like, how are you thinking about that?
As you say, that the adoption piece is one of the biggest challenges. Once you so part of our first thing we do in our process with HubSpot is we tell everyone to forget about HubSpot, and we say, look, don't think about the system, don't think about the software. Let's think about, what does your customer journey look like? What do your internal processes look like? Let's map those out. Forget about any software, because a big issue that we see of people moving from other platforms into HubSpot is that they've tried to shoehorn their processes into a software because that's how it does it, whether it be ClickUp or
Mm.
whatever the case may be. And we've used that for project management before, Supered as well. So we tell them, look, let's forget about that. Once we've mapped out the customer journey and their processes, we know they know their business better than we do. Hopefully, we know HubSpot better than they do. We should. And when we get our heads together around those workshops in the initial stages, that planning is the most critical part. So we can plan it out and say, well, look, maybe you could change this process and maybe we could automate this using HubSpot. Did you know that HubSpot can do that? And by the end of these 2 workshops that we do, the initial stages, we have then got a roadmap to customize their HubSpot portal for them. And it's special because actually, in quite a lot of cases, we've worked with clients where they change their offering based on those journey map sessions, and they'll be saying things like, I'll be asking them questions, or the team will be saying, why? So is that a profitable arm of the business, or what's that like to deliver? And they're like, do you know what? Actually, we've never thought about this, but that's really unprofitable, and we hate doing that. Why are we doing that? And I'll be like, great. And we've went through the same processes internally. So it's quite nice to see it all coming together. I think that the adoption piece is twofold. Firstly, getting the right people involved. And in fact, we as I said, we had our offsite today where we spent the full day reviewing our systems and processes and what we can improve. And we were talking around some of the clients that we've got and how we approach that onboarding season, that onboarding at the initial mapping stage, and making sure that we've got the right people on that call, because there's nothing worse than the senior leadership team designing a system and then handing it over to the team that are going to have to actually use it without them having any input in it at all. So they've got to have that input at the early stages. That's a big piece for buy-in. And then in terms of actually once you've got them trained and it's customised and it uses their language and it's mapped out the way that they need it to be, it's about customising it to that each individual user. Because really funny, we recently implemented HubSpot, and they had a sales team of about 7 or 8, and mixture of people that are maybe a bit fatigued by CRM. They've used 5 or 6 of them. They're not really that excited about it. Couple of people are really tech savvy, picked it up really quickly, and we had one guy who was phenomenal. He writes his call reports on a piece of paper, drives them in to the office on a Friday, and used to get somebody to upload them to the old system. And I thought that is absolutely brilliant. So if we can get him using HubSpot, we can get anybody using HubSpot. That's my thought on it.
Oh, that's a great story. That's so good. That's so good. I can you all have the horror stories. Everybody has whoever that man is, right? There's the one person, the tech laggard that you can get using. Andrew, what is we've talked about 2. I kind of talked a little bit about adoption. I just think it's so important for CRMs. Like it is the thing for us. But like what's in scaling the business? We talked about simplifying services so you can train people. We've talked about systems so that we can scale the people. It's like something you need to pick, and it's really important to get to diamond. What was the other challenge that was difficult, and how you solved it?
So there's the third pillar in this, in the growth that I see it as people. Relationships that we've got with people at HubSpot, and I've probably got to shout out who'll give me into trouble, our PDM Eamon, who looks after us. He's been our PDM for the best part of the decade of that whole journey.
Wow, that's very unique.
It's unique. We've had a few others which have been fantastic as well, but I think out of those 10 years, Eamon's been our PDM for about 7 of them. We often like to slag him because he's always on holiday. We think that he doesn't put a holiday request form in. He just puts in the request when he wants to work. But he's been kind of instrumental in our growth in terms of giving us support around making sure that we know the benefits of being a HubSpot partner, because it's so difficult. Your head gets buried in the sand. You're so busy working on the day-to-day that Eamon will say, well, did you know that we've got this event coming up? Have you seen this webinar? Did you know that HubSpot's releasing this? Have you seen the roadmap? So that relationship with him, and actually knowing and being a few steps ahead of the partner that is our number one kind of core offering. And then secondly, the people that we've got internally. I'm pretty bad for thinking, my first thought when there's a problem or when there's a task is how can I do this, when really it should be who can do this. And that's been a big learning curve over the last 4 months.
How'd that switch for you? Because we talk about, I think this is a good, the third is overcoming. We put overcoming yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
What changed? Like in this part, especially this 2 years, you went from a few people to 8 people, and that's what changed that finally said, okay, I can rely on others.
I think the level, the skill set and experience of the people that I brought into the business, and some of it has been through good recruitment, and some of it has been through relationships where I've been lucky that I've met people that have come into the business and and supported the growth. And I think that look, it's a small team. We work hard together, and that breeds a culture where we all support each other. We have our regular calls, and if somebody's struggling, we'll kind of all gather around.
Question, Andrew. Just forgive me for interrupting. I just have this thought as you've done this, as you like overcome self. It's um, I'll get on these. How did you find people? Like, how do you hire them? Because it seems like you love your team a lot, and they love each other. Like the way you're talking. How did you? And but you can open yourself up and get hurt. So like, how did you hire? Did you have like when you're thinking through this as you're getting these first
I
couple?
think it's funny. I mean, you say that because you are working in a small team, and as much as you shouldn't, you do take things personally. And it is very much you're spending more time with the people that you work with than you are with your own family in a lot of cases, particularly if you're founding the business. So, the people around you, you've got to. I mean, our kind of process for interviews. The first thing we do, the first interview is around fit. So I actually don't really. I'll obviously you'll get the CV or you'll get the video emailed in on the recruitment. The first step of it is are they going to be a good fit, because they can be the best HubSpot consultant in the world, and if they're not the right fit for our culture, then they won't work. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad, or that they might not fit another culture of a different shaped or sized
Mhm.
business. But they need to fit first and foremost, and then
How do
secondly.
you how do you judge culture? Like for you, when you're doing that, is it just do you bring them into the office? Like what? How are you judging if that's a good culture fit?
So the first thing we try and depending, the way of the world now is we've got some remote people who feel closer to the business because we have those regular check-ins. But the first thing we'll have a first call, if possible, they'll be in the office, and I want to probably learn more about them and their experience and what they've done before and what they've liked and what they've not liked. And I think that I know I don't look it, but I'm 40, coming up for 41. So I'm probably of an age where if you went for a job interview and someone asked why you're leaving your last job, you would have to say, oh, you'd have to make up some story, because you couldn't actually say, well, do you know what, I actually really didn't like it, or I wasn't, or I couldn't go anywhere. So I try and I'm trying. And you know, from working with them, I'm quite straight to the point and open and honest. Like if somebody says, like, I really hated my last boss, or actually I walked out because my boss shouted at me, or they made me work until midnight every night and I hated it, I just didn't like it. Like I want to try and get
Hmm.
I want to try and break the barrier down in that first 10, 15 minutes and get some honest answers and some honest truth about what do you like doing at the weekend? What are you passionate about? If you get kids, if you get dogs, if you get cats, do you like cricket? What is it that actually, because look, Matt, as much as you and I we're founders and it's our business and we love it. I think if we both got £100 million put into the bank tomorrow, I don't know if we would still be. I don't know if we'd still be doing it. We probably would. We would. We would be doing. We would be doing this. We would maybe take a week off for a long weekend off, but we would. But we would still be. We would still be doing this. But I think most people like they work because they have to. So you kind of want to find out what ticks, and it's just pure gut. It's gut. There's no question set. There's no Claude. There's no. You've got a gut. If you're going to go on with someone and you think they're going to work, then that's great. Then the second step is, look, can you actually do the job? So we'll whittle it down typically in a row to 3, ideally 5 at an absolute maximum, and then we'll give them a paid task to do. And that might even be come into the office for a day, and we'll pay them to do it because. And quite often recruiters will say to me, I can't believe you're paying people to do that. That must cost a fortune, and they've obviously never. It's cost a fortune recruiting the wrong people and giving them a contract.
Yeah. Yes.
So I like to get them in and let them and see how they are, and see if they like it. And it might be the case they don't like us or the way we work. Agency life is quite intense. Something that I have learned in the past, bringing people in who think that they're in a fast-paced environment that haven't worked in an agency, they don't realise that they've never worked in a fast-paced environment. So whereas if we bring someone in from an agency, they just get it straight away.
Yeah.
They know what it's like. They know what the deadline's like, the pace is like, and they can work to that.
Isn't that weird? There's it's some people love working agencies and some people don't. And it's some people just like once you go to an agency and you go back to a place, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so powerless. I'm bored. I don't want to do this. So it's good to know. It's good to know. Andrew, question is okay. You're talking to the Andrew 5 years ago, and there's people listening here that are platinum right now, and they want to get to diamond. Uh, you're talking to your previous self, but you're also talking to a lot of people that, hey, they're coming, they're before you in some ways, and they're like, man, Andrew's my hero. I want to be able to be like him one day. What what is one thing you would tell them? Hey, here's something I did that you should never do. Like, here's something I would never do again.
Do it all myself. That's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned. I took on a lot of I did a lot of the type of work that I shouldn't have done, and I felt I had to do it to get it off the ground. But actually, we had the budget in the bank to just bring people in. I'd bring more people in faster. That would be my first. That would be a thing to do.
At any point, it just helpful. It's like, hey, I had budget in the bank. And what is a time to even make the bet? Because you got to make the bet at some point.
You do. That's it. You do. You have to take that risk. And I think that there's. I think you had for a long time. I probably didn't have for the first few years. I thought I had a business, and I didn't have a business. I had a job that I owned.
Yes.
And my friends would say to me, "It must be great working for yourself, and you can work whenever you want." And I would be like, "Yeah, it's great. I can work whatever 85 hours of the week that I choose to work. It's fantastic. I love it." But like it takes its toll on your health, on your family life, trying to do too much. So I think like that's probably the biggest mistake I've made. If I could go back 5 years, I would bring in more people faster. And I would have a better idea. I mean, we've all got an ideal customer profile as to what are the type of clients that we want to work with. Build your ideal customer, but build your ideal employee profile. Who's the benchmark? What type of people do you want to work with? And where are they based? What's their experience? Have they got 5 years? Can you afford someone that's got 10 years agency experience? Can you afford director level? I mean, and I've seen people bring in people at director level and probably they're not ready to that. They need more people that are hands on. They've brought a director in and they're asking them to do client delivery, and they're saying, "Well, why are you asking me to do that? I've not done that for 5 years." So I think the biggest thing that I would say is that make a decision. Do you want to be in it? There's a lot of fantastic HubSpot consultants that work directly for HubSpot users and that work for agencies. And if that is what you want to do, then decide that early. But if you do decide that you want to grow a business and you want something that's a bit bigger, invest it. Just go for it. Take the risk. Take a calculated risk. And when you've got and build up a budget by that, there's no way around it. If you either take an investment or you put the sweat in, where you're up to 2 a.m. building HubSpot properties, and you do that, when as soon as you can, bring in help because it's transformative. I mean, we're 240% up this year, and it's entirely down to systems, processes, and people. We can't believe it. HubSpot are phoning us and saying, "What are you doing?" The accountant's phoning me saying, "What are you doing? You've got a horrible tax bill coming." I can see it. I can see it already.
You should have bought some property to decrease. You should have been not profitable.
Exactly. I know I should have bought. So get that expense column up. But it's the people, the systems processing people's been what transformed the business. And I think every year I simplify the product offering, and like when I started Flow Digital, if it had the word internet or web in it, I would do it, and I wouldn't charge enough for it. If you needed your email set up, I would do that. If you were looking you needed ClickUp set up, I would do that. And I actually took a step, take the time to take a step back and say, "Oh, actually, hold on, what is it we're actually doing here?"
And there's a reality of, and I think we all go through it, where we say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And then there's a reality of, you don't want to do that very long. You want to do it for some amount of time to understand, what do you like doing, what do people actually want, and then you simplify, and then you can hire.
Yeah.
But you need to be working towards those two things. Don't keep doing it. You'll work yourself into exhaustion. Okay, Andrew, I'll leave with this: is what is the next big bet you're making? And so which is freaking incredible. I have never done that, what you did, which is have one line of business that is 75%, and then the rest is like marketing, and then shift my entire business to being RevOps. Now, or something like HubSpot is now 75% of my business. You made that bet. It worked. You're in HubSpot. You're 240% up year over year. Well done. What is the next bet that Andrew Logan's making to get to elite? Because I'm assuming that's the next goal.
That's the next goal. That is, we celebrated Diamond for a few days, and we're now target. We've now got the elite up on the whiteboard. And like HubSpot's the bet that we're making. It's interesting. We've been chatting to prospects considering HubSpot, and CRM and software in general is I think probably falsely it's all a bit up in the air at the moment. People are saying, well, will I vibe code my own CRM? Will I vibe code my own product? AI has become so prevalent in marketing. And AI is probably the main reason that we made the shift. In that, when I saw what was happening with AI in HubSpot, I thought, why would you want to pay an agency to do that for you? Pay an agency to support you on it, but, and that is what we do. So as much as like our HubSpot support contracts can be, we're supporting you how to use the platform, but they can actually be, we'll support you how to work the EEO tool, or we'll support you on how to build workflows and automations. So we're kind of still, I suppose, doing some marketing alongside the client, which they feel better about. It's more cost effective. The end result's better. So I suppose my next bet is because everything, marketing's up in the air, software's up in the air, and we've got clients that are, they can asking, our prospects asking the same question. We're not really sure what road to go down. Do we vibe code our own? How does this work? The bet we've made in is HubSpot, and not the fancy orange software. We've made the investment. We've made the bet in the leadership, because we know what they've achieved over the last decade or so, and we know what they can achieve over the next decade or so. As a Diamond partner, we're privileged to see some of that roadmap, and obviously I'm sworn to secrecy, but it's exciting, some of the stuff that's coming. So we've really hitched our wagon to HubSpot. That focus on it is what's helped us grow, and that laser focus of what will help us get to elite and beyond. We'll probably, and we're on track to double in size again, and we will, and that's what we need to do to be elite. So it's good, we're on the right track, and it's just purely by focus.
I love, I like how you switched the question and you said, hey, my bet is my same bet, and we're going to double down. Because actually people are questioning the SaaS apocalypse, and is there going to be CRMs? Hubs is down, Salesforce is down. And you're saying, no, that is, I see, this is the bet that we believe it's a CRM infrastructure, and we believe there will be actually a consolidation, and HubSpot will be better, not worse. Which is not what everybody's doing, which is perfect. That's a bet. And I think it's a good one. Andrew, thank you for sharing. I learned a lot. I've come out a better man. So appreciate you. Thank you for joining us today on Fast and Furious, man.
I appreciate the invite, Matt. It's always good to catch up.
Right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Stay awesome. Keep doing it big, and never, ever, ever stop believing. Adios, everybody.